Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is Drew and you're once again watching The Theme Park Dude. Today's video I give my thoughts on Monsters Unchained: The Frankenstein Experiment inside of Dark Universe, a Universal Orlando's newest theme park epic universe. Before I begin, we'd like to hit that subscribe button as well as the like button to support the channel. Now, off to the video. Monsters Unchained: The Frankenstein Experiment is a love letter to the iconic monsters that saved Universal Pictures back in the 1930s. This high-budget experience allows guests to come face-to-face with Frankenstein's monster, Dracula, the Wolfman, the Mummy, the Creature from the Black Lagoon, the Phantom of the Opera, the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and more. This ride is located in Dark Universe, an entire land dedicated to these iconic monsters and one of 5 immersive worlds in Universal Orlando Resort's newest theme park, Epic Universe, which officially opens to the public May 22nd. I got the opportunity to visit during a preview for the park, and at the time of recording, I've ridden Monsters Unchained 3 times, with every single animatronic working each time I rode, offering me a very complete experience. Before I get into my thoughts on this technological triumph Universal Creative was able to create, allow me to give a complete run-through of the queue, pre-show, and ride experience. Warning, this video will be filled with spoilers. Starting off with the queue for the ride, you come face to face with Frankenstein Manor, the icon of the town of Darkmoor, which is the setting of the land. The great-great-granddaughter of Dr. Frankenstein, Victoria Frankenstein, has seemingly inherited the manor and all the experiments/monsters that lie within and beneath, inside the catacombs which run for miles underneath the manor. Now, this facade is massive in person. This is one of the most impressive ride facades I've ever seen, up there with the castle at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter and Islands of Adventure. This facade is huge, and at night it lights up, and there's electricity going to the top. This is an anchor piece of the land and an anchor piece of the entire park as a whole, and really is an icon for Darkmoor. And this castle obviously is not empty like you're seeing right now. You go through and you see this giant staircase, which you'll get to later in the queue, before going down this dark hallway, which will take you to the exterior part of the queue. But these hallways are also pretty well themed. But then you also have this exterior queue, which can hold a very long wait. I've heard anywhere between 3 to 4 hours, so be prepared to sit out here if you do come to ride this attraction. Now, you do have this warning sign right here as well before making your way down the hallway. We are heading back towards that staircase, but before you get to the staircase, you go through several of these rooms, which introduce you to some of the experiments that Dr. Victoria Frankenstein has been working on, as well as just living rooms and other rooms inside the manor. Like here you can see there's a casket that's open with something inside. You don't really know what it is, and that kind of leads up. And you also have a family tree in the background where Victoria Frankenstein has seemingly put herself on the cover. There's a lot of lore that is found within this queue, and in the future I might make an entire lore video on Darkmoor, as well as people are uncovering new things every single day about this ride and the storyline and how it connects to everything, and it's actually very unique. And then here you come face to face with what is believed to be the original Frankenstein's monster, which is still around, and you can see it being DNA'd, scanned right in front of you. This is a really impressive statue, very detailed as well. And then you also continue around and you can see some of the other experiments and some other things that have either gone wrong or they're old and they're being shown off to you inside the manor. Very impressive, like I said, very detailed. Universal Creative did an excellent job adding in all of these details into the queue line to make a super long line feel basically like nothing. First time I rode this, I only ended up waiting about 20 minutes because I did rope drop, had the full experience, so then I did the single rider line for my other 2 rides, but I still recommend it, at least at some point everybody does the regular queue. Now, once you exit that room, you head back up to the staircase area where you were before when you entered the manor, but now you go up the stairs, and this is where you get ready to go into the pre-show room. But before you go in the pre-show room, you do pass by some more interesting stuff, and you can see the electric lights going right up to the top of the manor right there, which at night will cause the entire roof of the manor to light up, which is very impressive and a cool effect. Now there's people you can see going up there as well. That's where we'll be in a second. You continue walking this way and you see some Dracula stuff, like them analyzing one of Dracula's bats, which is really cool. And there's also a screen which plays retro scene, super old monster films, and that's really neat to kind of say, hey, there's been these experiments before, and they're kind of showing all of that. And there's like these weird creatures. All this stuff is very, I think old school, like monsters, like classic stuff, not the big names we all know of. And here you can see the Dracula experiment is being captured. That is where Dracula's bat is, which I believe is Dracula just in a bat form. So you'll come face to face with that later on in the attraction as well, but you'll see it lights up and how the electricity, I guess, pulses through to kind of keep it contained. And then, like here, you can look down. You can also see the portrait of Victoria Frankenstein that's on the top of the stairwell. And now you keep going straight into this next room, which is where we get introduced to Igor, which will be the first pre-show on the attraction, because there's technically two. Like right here, you can see Igor's on the screen introducing you to the attraction, saying basically what he's going to be doing. He's controlling your ride vehicle throughout the time to make sure you're okay through the catacombs, while the next group that's experiencing the second pre-show is getting ready to go in. So it's just kind of one of those stalling pre-shows. But you do see a cool like little animatronic of the ride vehicle straight ahead, which is kind of hard to see in this clip because it is very dark. That is something to be cautious of if you're riding during the daytime. It is very dark inside, kind of like a Halloween Horror Nights house. So just be prepared to maybe have your flashlight on your phone at ready, because it's very easy to run into stuff, especially once you get to this point in the queue line. But yeah, Igor's basically just saying you're getting ready for the ride. He'll make sure nothing goes wrong and control your vehicle through the catacombs. And now you go through these doors, and once you get through these doors, you are greeted with a very impressive audio animatronic of Victoria Frankenstein. Now, this uses a very similar technology to the Frozen figures at Epcot or the Cars animatronics at Disney California Adventure, where the face is actually projection. This is the only time this is done on the entire attraction. Now, it's still a very impressive animatronic, don't get me wrong, and I think it's easier since it's talking and it's so close to guests, so they can clearly see the mouth move, the eyes blink, which sometimes doesn't always work when you have a full-scale animatronic from far away. So since this is very close up, I can see why they went the projection route. It also saved a lot of money, but it made sense because you can clearly see it's talking. And now here you are greeted with a very impressive 9-foot tall audio animatronic of Frankenstein's monster. And yes, it is actually walking towards you right now. It is very impressive in person. Videos do not do it justice whatsoever. It's massive, it's huge, it's scary, but it's also really, really cool. Now, this animatronic, like I mentioned, this is probably one of the most advanced audio animatronics ever created for a theme park attraction. I would go as far as saying it's probably the most advanced audio animatronic, because I've never been able to see something like walk. And I don't believe there's any track or anything like that. It actually is walking towards you. Very similar, I guess, to the Abraham Lincoln animatronic over in Disneyland, but this is still Frankenstein 9 feet tall, moving its arms. It is talking to you, and in the back you can see Dracula, because the whole premise of the ride here at this point is Dr. Victoria Frankenstein needs you to go down there, and you're the key to kind of activate the Dracula experiment, which Frankenstein, you'll see, is a key as well, where he has to hold on to these electrical charges, which was actually seen in the concept art, which we didn't really know what meant at the time. But so Dracula is basically getting ready to, you can kind of see it's implied that he's going to escape. But right now we do not know that yet, and we're just going down to visit all the monsters in the laboratory in the catacombs underneath the manor. But yeah, really cool pre-show. Definitely recommend everybody checks it out at least once. And here we go with a POV of the ride. Now, I do not condone filming on the ride, but this was a release POV. But yeah, that's an Igor animatronic right there taking control of your ride vehicle. And now you see the Hunchback of Notre Dame is the first monster you see. And the second monster you see is this very impressive Phantom of the Opera animatronic. And the first two Universal Monster movies were actually Hunchback and Phantom of the Opera, so it makes sense those are the first two you see on the attraction. So that was a really cool Easter egg I noticed. Lots of HHN Easter eggs as well. And then you're met with a very impressive Victoria Frankenstein animatronic as she's introducing you and saying that the experiment is ready. Head to the next room where Frankenstein will activate. And next you see a very impressive Frankenstein audio animatronic, which will reach out and grab on and basically be shocked to activate the Dracula experiment for her control. But obviously something goes wrong. He escapes and releases all the monsters. Now this is the part of the ride where it takes a big turn and you start seeing those jump scares and more intense moments. This ride, you do spend a lot of time on your back, which kind of helps, I guess, take it away from the sides where you can kind of see the walls or screens at times. Here's the Brides of Dracula escaping from their, I guess, cages that they were kept in, and they're coming after you. You can see one attacking Frankenstein straight ahead. You can see one coming down from above. Lots of stuff kind of happening really close to you, so that is something if you don't like. There's a lot of jump scares on this attraction. Now you're heading into more of a swampy area, And now you duck down, first big jump scare of the ride, creature from the Black Lagoon, very impressive audio animatronic, and then you come face to face with a very impressive Wolfman animatronic, which is probably the most impressive on the entire ride. It looks so real and terrifying, and then you can see it on the screens chasing you, which blends so perfectly with the scenery around. You can't even tell it's a screen. And now you go here, you get turned on your back, and you look straight up, and then bam, jump scare number 2 of the ride with another Wolfman animatronic before another screen where Frankenstein fights him off. Now, if you thought you were done, you're wrong. Next up, we have The Mummy, which is a new version of The Mummy, not the same as the one on Revenge of the Mummy. This is the classic monster version of The Mummy, and he's going to try to mind control you and take over. So you have Victoria warning you, don't listen to him. Basically, get out of here as fast as you can. Igor is going to navigate you away. And then here you go, big animatronics, jump scare number 3 coming down at you. Very impressive animatronic right there as well, and does get very close to you. Now, here's probably the only part of the ride that I didn't think was the best. You're on your back, and there's just a lot of screens, and at this point, you don't really know what's going on. You kind of understand that, okay, they're going to use this light beam from the sun to attack Dracula, but Dracula's coming after you to attack you, so you got to get out of there. So here's the light beam that Frankenstein uses from the sun to attack some of the brides of Dracula to try to get you out of there because you're trying to escape. Jump scare right there from the Bride of Dracula, one flying around the top there. Here you go with actually Dracula on the screen, coming around, and now he is lunging towards you. And now this animatronic up next did not work in this POV, but on my ride it does, and it's very cool. He flies towards you in slow motion as he gets attacked by Victoria Frankenstein, who says, all monsters will bow to the name Frankenstein. And then here you go, you have Igor kind of exiting off the ride before he gets brutally murdered by a bunch of bats. Well, we don't know that for sure, but that's what it looks like. So now that you got a complete rundown of the entire ride experience, let me share my thoughts, the pros and the cons. Now starting off with the pros, which this is going to be a majority of my review part of the video. The animatronics, the story, the full experience is just absolutely incredible. I think the second you step foot in the queue line, you are immersed in this story. Even the second you step into Darkmoor as a whole, you are immersed into the story. Very impressive what Universal Creative was able to do and how everything kind of ties together from the entire land. And then you go through the castle and you get introduced to these characters, and then you get introduced to the storyline, which I think is a very good story. You can definitely tell it might have changed through production because there was rumors for a while that it was going to be like a tourist trap or something. You were going to get stuck and have to go through the catacombs, or there was also plot lines where it was just the original Frankenstein. But I think making this a very modern approach to it fit very well and is going to connect a lot more with the modern audiences, and also makes it very fresh and renewed to the older audiences as well. The animatronics, like I mentioned, are world class. This is a technological triumph, like I in the title of the video, and also like I've said it several times. These animatronics are like nothing you've ever seen. I mean, they come close to the Rise of Resistance animatronics or the Navi Shaman at Animal Kingdom, but these are like times 10 because there's so many of them and they're so fluid, and you actually get a few seconds with them instead of a mere, drive by really quick. So you get to see these animatronics. They're massive, they're huge, they look so real, and it's terrifying at times. I mean, there is a lot of jump scares on this ride, like I mentioned. It's not as scary as, everybody's saying, but that's just because, it's probably going to be different for every person. I mean, I very much enjoy Halloween Horror Nights, and I don't get too scared from those either, so I don't think this was going to scare me. But if you're very terrified of jump scares and monsters, this is going to be very scary for you. And I think that trailer that was released a few months ago saying that this is going to be the scariest Universal ride, oh, it 100% is. This was a very big risk that Universal took, dedicating this much money to a horror franchise, and I'm very glad they took that risk. The intergen aspect is great. It's thrilling but not nauseating. So yes, there is times where you get like shoved forward, shoved on your back, shoved to the side, but there's no like domed screens, which is what gets me nauseated on Harry Potter the Forbidden Journey. So that's very good. There's no like really spinny motion, so that's great. There's no like sudden kind of speed changes. It's very slow pretty much throughout, with a couple jolts to the side, but that just kind of fits with this, with what's going on. The blend of screens and real physical sets is phenomenal. I've never seen anything like it, where sometimes you don't even know what's real because you'll see an animatronic and it will like move to the side, and then that will become the screen, and then it will come back as an actual animatronic, or just the background. Some of it will be physical sets, some will be screens. It blends very well. Now, that's it with my pros, but my cons, there's only a couple of them. The ending just kind of just ends. Like, you just have Dracula kind of get defeated, and then he kills Igor. Or we don't know if Igor died. I actually did a question on Twitter, and supposedly he pulls a lever that takes him to safety, so he actually is okay, so that's great. But it just kind of ends. I wish like there was one giant big finale scene with maybe a few more giant animatronics fighting each other, or just, maybe have a victory animatronics with Victoria and Frankenstein standing next to each other with some of the monsters in the cages mimicking the opening scene with, the Phantom and the Hunchback and all those monsters in that giant lab scene. And also, there's lots of times that you're on your back on this attraction, so that is something to be prepared for. You're not really going close to upside down. Like Forbidden Journey, you kind of almost lay on your neck for a little bit. This, there's none of that. The farthest you go is your back, but there's a lot of points where you're on your back because there's a lot of animatronics that come from above and they'll come down at you. There's at least Wolfman and Mummy do that, and I think a couple Brides of Dracula do that. So you're going to be on your back for a while. So if that's something you're not really comfortable with, 100% I would not recommend riding this experience just because it will hurt your back or at least put you in a weird, awkward position for long periods of time. There also is a lot of black curtains on this attraction. So they're just walls that kind of line up, and you can very clearly see them because like there'll be lights flashing, and they can kind of kick you out of the environment. But the ride does do a good job, though, turning you away from those rather quickly. So as long as you're not really looking for them, you're okay. But yeah, those are really all my cons for the attraction. Now let's get to the overall consensus of the ride. Overall, Monsters Unchained is one of the most impressive dark rides in the world, and a technological triumph for the park and theme park industry. A perfect blend of storytelling, immersion, and stunning audio animatronics make this ride stand out to anything in the world. This is a standout at Epic Universe and the entire Universal Orlando Resort as a whole that you just experience when you visit the resort next. Universal took a huge risk dedicating this much money and space to a horror property, but it did work out. This ride is very popular and it's only in preview, so just wait till the park officially opens. I'm expecting this ride to have a 2-hour wait minimum at all times, and this will definitely be one of the most popular rides in the park. I applaud Universal Creative and the entire team behind creating this phenomenal attraction that will keep the iconic Universal classic monsters alive for decades to come. Thank you for reaching this video, and if you enjoyed, please remember to leave a massive like and subscribe for future theme park content. Comment down below if you're planning to ride Monsters Unchained at Epic Universe once it opens on May 22nd. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day, everyone. See ya. Bye.